most of us are praying all the time and we don't even realize. I guess we're not directing our prayers in the right way, kind of putting them out there and putting the wrong address on them. The way you will pray when you're just curious will be different to how you pray when you've just found Jesus, will be different to how you pray when you've been a year in your faith to then, 10 years in your faith. When I first came to Jesus, or not even came to him, but I guess I was walking towards, I had no idea what at the beginning, but there was just curiosity. I knew that I was going to need to pray. I was speaking to somebody at the time who was praying a lot as well. And I think that is when it dawned on me that I didn't really know how to pray. When I hear Christians who've been in their faith for a really long time, when I hear them pray, I'm like, how do you know all of this? Where is all of this coming from? And it's so powerful and so precise. But the likelihood that that's where you are is very unlikely. So we just want to simplify. We want to make it simple because really this is just about building a relationship with Jesus. Let go of everything else. Let go of it being a religion. Let go of you being in faith for 20 years and even identifying as a Christian. It's enough at the beginning to just say, okay, who is this Jesus and how do I get to know him? What's great is it's like any other relationship. You just need to speak to him. And for me, that's what praying is. It's your private communication with Jesus. And it's really important at the beginning that you're just real. You don't need any kind of formal prayer. It doesn't need to sound polished or perfect. In fact, a lot of my prayers at the beginning were just a lot of offloading, a lot of questions, some anger, frustration, disappointment. I used Jesus as my therapist, actually. My therapist, and like I was leaving one very long voice note. And he is not going to judge you for that. Somebody said to me at the beginning, just imagine that you are a child. You're a child going to its father, its parent, and speak like a child would speak. That really helped me. It really helped me because I didn't have any ideas. I didn't have any answers. I felt really lost. I felt very confused. I was exhausted. It helps to just let Jesus come and meet you exactly where you're at. I talk a lot about surrender. It is a really significant part of the early walk with Jesus, but then you're continuously just surrendering to God, giving more to God. Which, by the way, you don't have to do any of that right now. Just stay curious in your relationship with Jesus. As you get to know him more, you're going to learn more about how you deepen that relationship. One of those things being surrender. But I think for many of us, it's really hard to let go of control. And what does surrender even mean? So you can even just bring that to Jesus. And that's what I mean by letting him meet you where you're at. Whatever you don't understand, whatever feels difficult, just bring it and say to him, I've heard that I need to surrender. I don't even really know how to do that. But I'm willing enough to come to you and say, I don't know, but can you help? Can you help me surrender? Show me what surrender is. You're not necessarily going to have an audible answer, it can be really subtle. One day you might notice that you have let go of something. It's just happened. There was no big inner process. There was no integration. It just lifted. And you know that it hasn't just gone off into space. You know it's with Jesus. Another time, the prayer might be answered by somebody who just comes into your life and says one thing. God highlights things. He highlights things that people say. He highlights things that you read. Maybe it will just suddenly slow down and it just really registers with it keeps playing over your mind. That's God saying, pay attention because I'm answering something in this for you. This is for you. Being able to surrender is letting go of pride and saying, okay, I don't know. I am not going to try and control things. But there can be a lot of subtle holding on. And we don't even know where that is or why that is. It's probably rooted in some fear somewhere. So you can also just pray, like, God, all right, if my heart is being stubborn and I don't know, or if I'm holding on in places and I don't know, come and dissolve it. Come and take it away so that I can know you, that I really can find the truth. Just remember, Jesus knows everything anyway. He knows your heart. He knows every wound. He knows every scar. He knows all of the challenges. He knows all of the pain. He knows everything that's kept you up at night. So there's no shame. There's nothing to hide. All he asks is that you believe and that you give him your heart. Let it pour out imperfectly, without it being edited. Just everything that's on the inside comes outside. But be sure that you are directing it to him. That's the only difference. Maybe you have done this. Maybe you have found yourself on the floor, on your knees, sobbing, letting it all come out, but not really directing it anywhere. If you make a small shift in your heart, he is listening and you will experience a change. And let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear from you below. If you've got a tip for getting started with prayer, if you found your own little way that really helped, share it below so that we can all grow together. And when you hear those amazing, beautiful prayers from people who seem like they have it all together and they're doing a much better job, one day that will be you. Because what's happening there is they are allowing the Holy Spirit to move through them, to speak through them. It's not them. It's the presence of God speaking through them. And they're using Bible verses that they have studied and learned and trained themselves to remember what God has written on their heart. And that all comes in time. But their prayer is no more valuable to Jesus than your messy, imperfect prayer where you're snotting and sobbing into the carpet, not really making much sense. He's listening to those too.